5 spots at the CrossFit Games are up for grabs as we kick off the Atlas Games. Loaded fields for the men and women face friendly Fran. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Annie Sakamoto, and this is week 4 of the Noble CrossFit Games semifinals. We begin with the men's side of things at the Atlas Games. The front runners coming in, a man who finished 5th at the games, Jeffrey Adler, another man who's been on the podium, Pat Vellner, Alexander Carolyne, Tyler Christoffel from the US, and Samuel Cournoyer. Event number 1, really nothing friendly about this version of Fran, but it is entitled Friendly Fran. 3 rounds for time of 21 thrusters and 21 chest-to-bar pull-ups, 85 pounds for the women, 115 pounds for the men. And Annie, coming into our featured matchup, it's Dane Smith who has the time to beat, 3:47.
And actually, it shouldn't come as a huge surprise, Sean, because Dane actually was 12th in the Worldwide Open 21.3 workout. We know that consisted of front squats, toes to bar, chest to bar, bar muscle ups, and thrusters. But as we heard last week, you know, 21s are a different beast than 15s, and 115 pounds is a different beast than 95. So super impressive start for Dane Smith.
Let's get you out to our featured matchup for event 1 for the men at the Atlas Games. Chase Ingram and Tanya Wagner have the call, and they begin with the box assignments presented by CBDMD.
Welcome to the 2021 Atlas Games virtual semifinal. I'm Chase Ingram. Alongside with me all weekend long will be the 2009 CrossFit Games champion Tanya Wagner as we get set for men's event 1, Friendly Fran. Now, this is the first event of the stage 1 of the 2020 CrossFit Games, and it just so happens it'll be the first event of the semifinals. If you look at your boxes left to right, Pat Vellner in the upper left corner of your screen. To his right in the middle, Jeffrey Adler. Brent Fikowski will be on the far right of the top right. Paul Tremblay, bottom left. Alex Vigneault and Samuel Cournoyer will round out your top 6. And Tanya, we have Friendly Fran, 21 thrusters, 21 chest to bar pull-ups. For these athletes, what are the keys to this event in particular?
Even though this is a sprint event, it's really important that this first round they stay as controlled as possible, just really to avoid imploding. They know their speed, they know the pace they have to go, but not having those other competitors side by side, it's easy to get a little too fast early. The second thing, they're gonna have to ride that red line. It's not gonna be comfortable, but they need to manage where that red line is, especially with their breathing and also their grip. A little heavier load is gonna be taxing on that grip, so they have to flash and just be careful with their grip when they can. And really, lastly, they just need to go all out that last round. Whatever they have left, they push the pace there that final 3rd round.
Athletes finishing up their first round, bottom left corner, Paul Tremblay is already off the rig. And if you look at the top part of every athlete's box, there is a red progress bar. That is designating how far they have gotten in the particular event. Once that red hits all the way across the top of their box, that would mean they have completed the event. So your current leader, bottom left, Paul Tremblay. No surprise there, one of the strongest athletes in the entire field, but has the gymnastics to match that. Behind him on the right side, bottom right, is also Samuel Cournoyer.
Chase, look at the way Paul Tremblay, the bottom left of your screen, his speed there, cycling that barbell. He pulled the barbell down, started to descend into his squat before the bar even hit his chest. He's just cycling super fast.
Those guys watching along, the event is in the bottom 3rd part of your screen. 21 thrusters, 21 chest to bar pull-ups for 3 rounds. 115 is on the bar for the men. On the right side, you can see the time. We're just approaching the 2-minute mark. The time to beat in this event for the Atlas Games was set by Dane Smith at 3:47. Now, 2 athletes to keep your eye on are in the top corners of your screen. Pat Vellner on the left, Brent Fikowski on the right. Both had very disappointing finishes in 2020. Vellner was dealing with that old groin injury, whereas this was just not a good event for Brent Fikowski, finishing 27th out of 30 at stage 1 of the 2020 CrossFit Games.
And Paul Tremblay is now on his final set of thrusters, still with that fast speed. He took a longer time in between those pull-ups as he came back to the bar, which I like. He got himself set so that he can keep this speed up in the reps. Pausing overhead, another smart way to go to get your air.
Paul Tremblay, bottom left corner of your screen, almost done with his final set of 21 thrusters, and he'll move to the pull-up bar for the last time. 21 chest to bar pull-ups waiting for him. We are only at the 3-minute mark, so Dane Smith's time is within reach. And all the other athletes still on their final set of thrusters as Paul Tremblay in the bottom left corner is alone on the pull-up bar. Jeffrey Adler, middle part of your screen, top row. He's done with his thrusters, followed by Vellner. Cournoyer in the bottom right side of your screen has moved to the pull-up bar. It's just Alex Vigneault and Brent Fikowski. Fikowski breaks again as he makes his way to the pull-up bar. But Paul Tremblay is just a few reps away from taking this heat. Vellner takes a break, upper left corner of your screen. Paul Tremblay, just a handful of reps to go. And Tremblay will finish first in this heat. These places designating their place finishes. Jeffrey Adler just right behind him. Tremblay 1 second behind Dane Smith's time, followed by Vellner and Cournoyer, and this is not good for Brent Fikowski. This is one of the events that buried him in 2020, hoping to have a better start in 2021, but it is not looking like it so far, Tanya.
Chase, I think the other thing to think about is just Brent is really great at playing against the field. He's a really competitive athlete to play, against gaming, kind of pacing off of everybody else. When you're by yourself, you just can't do that, so there's no extra energy to give him that push. Knowing that this event wasn't great for him before, that's a lot to be in your head by yourself.
Alex Vigneault finishes, and Brent Fikowski has been reduced to single reps on the pull-up bar. And at a time of 4:46, Brent Fikowski, after one event, is already in damage control. Paul Tremblay takes the heat for first place.
Event 1 came down to barbell cycling speed of the thrusters. You have Paul Tremblay and Jeffrey Adler going head to head. Tremblay slightly edging out Adler on the cycling speed, but they went unbroken through 2 rounds of their pull-ups and came back down to that last and final barbell. Tremblay was able to edge out Adler after Jeffrey dumped his bar 11 reps into that final round, allowing Tremblay to get back to that pull-up bar with a little bit more rest and squeeze out those final last reps to edge out Adler by 2 seconds to take the event win.
Dane Smith's time of 3:47 holds up by a second over Paul Tremblay, Phil Toon, and Jeffrey Adler. They tie for third with times of 3:50. Of course, these are unofficial results. And your unofficial standings after one, Dane Smith with that event win earns 100 points. Paul Tremblay sits in second. Toon and Adler both earn 92 points. And then it's Logan Collins right now who sits in 5th place. And Mike Arsenault spoke with Jeffrey Adler.
You're one of only 5 men who were at the 2020 CrossFit Games final. What is it like having a target on your back as we're now in the 2021 season with the ability to punch your ticket to the games coming up next month?
I don't feel like I have that target in my back, actually. Like now, what's fun is I'm finally recognized as one of the top guys, and my name's up there in some places. But still, I think last year was a very unique year, and with more competitors, it would have been a lot different. So, this year is where I think I can leave a real mark, if I want to say it this way. So, yeah, I hopefully I'll qualify this weekend and then be able to compete next month.
There are still a lot of events to go here. Still plenty that needs to be decided. But Dane Smith with an event win, nothing guaranteed that not that he's going to make the games, but he certainly helped his cause with that great start.
Definitely. Like you said, it's only one event of 6 of the entire weekend. But considering that he was actually 9th in Test 2 in the quarterfinals, and if you look at what Test 2 was and what we have for Event 2 in the semifinals, he's set up really well to have a great day 1. Again, he is the youngest of all the Smith brothers, only 25 years old. He's already a dad, and he's a 3-time regional athlete, 1-time sanctional athlete, but he is the Smith brother that has not yet qualified for the games. He's looking to punch his ticket this weekend. Great first start.
Yeah. Let's go over to the women's side of things now. Here are your top seeds coming into the Atlas Games as we get set for event number 1 for them. Paige Semenza out of the United States. She's been to the games before. Sydney McCallishan, one of the youngsters in the field. Carolyne Prevost, Emily Rolfe, and then Emma Lawson, all athletes that we will be watching. Let's get it back out to Chase Ingram and Tanya Wagner on the call for the featured matchup for the women, and they begin with the box assignments presented by CBD MD.
It's the women's turn to take on event number 1, Friendly Fran. I'm Chase Ingham. With me is Tanya Wagner. Your top 6 in this grouping: Carolyne Prevost, upper left corner; Paige Semenza, Mekenzie Riley from left to right, as well as Chyna Cho, Alexis Johnson, and Emily Rolfe. We just saw the men take this on. 3 rounds for time, 21 thrusters, 21 chest to bar pull-ups, 85 pounds on the bar. And I tell you what, Tanya, it's nice to see Chyna Cho back into individual action and Alexis Johnson after coming off that Achilles injury.
It's so great to see this whole group of ladies working together, and yes, specifically those two. We were used to seeing Chyna Cho with Mayhem, with the team, so back in individual action. I'm just anxious to see all that training with Mayhem, how it will carry over to her individual performance here, as well as Alexis Johnson. It's always, the mental part of coming back from an injury is always, you can see when people kind of take that next step, and I'm hoping for Alexis that we see that from her.
And not to leave out Mekenzie Riley. I mean, we're talking about coming out from injuries, team. Now we're talking, life events coming into play. If you guys see at the upper left part of every box, there's a red progress bar. That means it designates how far they've got in the event, as all women have finished their 21 thrusters and moved to the pull-up bar for their 21 chest to bar pull-ups. Again, this is Friendly Fran, the first event of the 2020 Stage 1 CrossFit Games. And Tanya, we've always seen this in the past, where an old games event from the previous year tends to trickle its way into the regionals, now semifinals, the year after.
And as much as we love seeing those repeats, and athletes can have the comfort of they already did it, and sometimes you either have the memories of how it damaged you, or you're like, a little redemption, I can get that back. But no matter whether it's the first or second, third time you've done it, this one still hurts, and you can still screw up your pacing. So you have to be smart on that first round, because this workout comes down to the final reps on that pull-up bar. Did you pace enough properly, pace your sprint in the first 2 rounds that you can get through that last round of pull-ups? Did you break enough when you wanted to, so you're not forced to break when your body is forcing you to? So there's a lot that can go on, but these athletes, Chyna, Paige Semenza, and Mekenzie Riley specifically, have trained together in the past. So knowing they're in the same heats together, I'm sure they're thinking about each other, knowing what they can do, what those athletes can do, even though they're not side by side looking at each other.
Your current leader, halfway through, upper left corner of your screen, is Carolyne Prevost, who just dominated the service games, opting out of actually the age group online qualifier. And what's interesting to see is on the men's grouping, 5 of the 6 guys that took the Friendly Fran test that we saw had done it previously at the Stage 1 of the CrossFit Games. In this heat, none of them had done it before prior to the 2020 CrossFit Games. Carolyne Prevost, upper left corner of your screen, is on her last round, just at the 3-minute mark. If you look at the bottom right corner of your screen, that is the current time, as Carolyne Prevost on the upper left and Mekenzie Riley on the right side of your screen in the top right are on their last set of thrusters.
Mekenzie, top right, is really using strong form with her legs, glutes and hamstrings. Carolyne's squats are starting to fall apart a little bit. She's wasting a little more energy.
Carolyne Prevost, left corner of your screen, will break. Mekenzie Riley on the far right will break as well. So this is the first time we've seen either athlete take a break on the thrusters. Approaching 3.5-minute mark. Carolyne Prevost, top left corner, is done as she makes her way to the pull-up bar for the final time. Again, to see where these athletes are, if you look at the top of their box, there's a red progress bar slowly making its way across the screen, designating how far they've got in the event. Riley has broken a lot.
And Carolyne got to that pull-up bar. She looks strong in her sets. She's still butterflying.
Prevost, upper left corner of your screen, has a handful of reps left to go as we are just past the 4-minute mark. And that will be good enough for first in the group, and that will be the time to beat. Overall, 4:07 unofficially for Carolyne Prevost.
That was so impressive, Chase, the way that she was able to hold on for still bigger sets there at the end. Really impressive how she didn't fall apart. Mekenzie Riley is doing those big sets too. Bigger sets, I should say, for the final round there in your upper right screen.
Mekenzie Riley almost done. 1 or 2 more reps to go for Mekenzie Riley in the top right, and she'll be done. Unofficial time 4:42. We have 4 athletes left on the floor. Rolfe just 2 seconds behind her, so that is how close it was. And what's amazing to see is how close it is, and they're in different parts of the country.
I love when it's a race, even when they don't even know it. It shows you that these athletes are really, they belong here. Their capacity that they're pushing really is to their limits because they have to. There's nobody else to pace off of. So that's awesome to see these races and the athletes that deserve to be here.
Next to finish will be Alexis Johnson, middle part, bottom row. Paige Semenza just above her, still has a couple of reps left, as Semenza will be done right at a time of 5:27, good enough for 5th in this grouping, and it is just Chyna Cho left on the floor. Now, she has a lot of events left this weekend that is going to play more to her strengths than this particular one, as Chyna Cho will close things out right around 5:43 with a time to beat set by Carolyne Prevost in this final grouping. Takes the day for event number 1.
Event 1, we have the ladies tackling Friendly Fran, but who is outshining them the most right now is Carolyne Prevost, looking impressive on her thrusters with a fast cycling speed and looking like a monster on the pull-up bar. On the other hand, Mekenzie Riley took a slightly different strategy. She broke up her thrusters, broke up her pull-ups, allowing Carolyne Prevost to get a little bit of a larger lead into that 3rd round, which she held through all the way to the end to take the event victory.
Carolyne Prevost's time of 4:07 is good for the win and 100 points. Anikha Greer, great start for her at 4:27. Then Mekenzie Flincham will sit in 3rd, and then it's a tie between McCallishan and Mekenzie Riley. Prevost with 100 points with a strong start. Anikha Greer with 96, and then Mekenzie Flincham sits in 3rd with 92, and then of course 88 both for McCallishan, and Mekenzie Riley. Great start for Mekenzie Riley, and she spoke with Mike Arsenault.
Mekenzie, I have to know, as the mother of a child who's just over 1 year old, how were you able to get to this point on the precipice of qualifying for the CrossFit Games physically and mentally over the past year?
You know, honestly, that's a really great question. And I think it comes from not putting pressure or focus on it. It just kind of naturally has fallen into place like this. So I think it's almost a blessing, or better, that I haven't, been, living my day in, day out based on the goal of making the CrossFit Games. So that to be in this position already is just like really awesome. And I'm really proud that I'm here. So there's no expectation tied to any of these outcomes or any of my training. It's just, I like to train. So I'm going to train on the days that I feel like training, and whatever happens. And I'm just, like I said, to be where I'm at now, I definitely did not even expect this. So just kind of let things naturally happen.
Mekenzie Riley off to a good start. Anikha Greer off to a great start. And each week we have seen a really impressive youngster, and it looks like she's going to be the one that we'll be focused on here. Just 18 years old and already in 2nd place.
Right, and even though she finished 58th worldwide in the Open this year and 26th in North American quarterfinals and has a listed clean and jerk of 225 pounds, I actually thought that it would probably be another year or 2 before Anikha would actually be competitive. Amazing event 1, to be 2nd place overall in that event. Really good start. Like we said, there's 5 more events to go, but to see her be so competitive in such a sprint event, a great start, and I can't wait to see what this lady has for us all weekend.
That is going to do it for our coverage of Event 1 for the individuals at the Atlas Games. We will also have a featured matchup for Event 2 later on. Be sure you keep checking in with the CrossFit Games YouTube channel and the CrossFit Games Facebook page for that. We will also have an end-of-the-day recap for both the West Coast Classic and the CrossFit Asia Invitational. For Annie Sakamoto, I'm Sean Woodland. Enjoy our final weekend of coverage of the 2021 Noble CrossFit Games semifinals.